Let's talk about what has been a very, very sad topic over the past few weeks, and to bring it more recently back home is the death of rapper Riky Rick has brought the issue of mental health back in the spotlight. The 34-year-old is believed to have died by suicide on Wednesday morning. Now, his death has sparked an outpouring of concern from South Africans in general and celebrities like eNCA about mental health, but in specific, to be specific, mental health for men. Joining us now is the CEO of the Men's Foundation of South Africa, Garron Gsell. Good morning, Garron. Good to have you with us. And why does it always seem to be that we have a different discussion, correct me if I'm wrong, about men's mental health versus traditionally women's mental health? Is it because we just don't talk about it? Are we that ashamed as a society to talk about mental health for men?
Absolutely, Gareth. I think men's mental health and depression needs to be looked at through the male lens in terms of how we address our mental health issues and depression. If we look at the statistics and what it speaks to, not only do we lose Riky Rick on Wednesday morning, we lost another 17 other men on average in South Africa. So we have incredibly high suicide rates. I think we're sitting at the second highest suicide rates in the world. But it's not only relevant in South Africa. Globally, we have one man taking their lives by suicide every minute. But definitely in South Africa, it's something that we see is very prevalent and certainly more reported on. And we get to see this when we lose, amazingly successful and humble people like Riky, unfortunately, and it puts it into perspective for us.
I'm taking a look at your website here. Take action, stay connected, and look after your mental health. But it seems there is this, and tell me again if I'm wrong, the stereotype that big boys don't cry. Everything has to be fine. You have to be the man of the house. You have to be the one in charge. But that just isn't how it works these days, is it?
No, unfortunately not, and I think this is where we are as South African men. We're facing this emotional evolution where we need to start re-looking the way that we've been dealing with our matters, that old school, dad never cried, and because dad never cried or ever shared his emotions, I'm not going to. But the unfortunate reality that we're facing as well, and, society needs to also enable men to start being able to destigmatize the discussion around mental health. We saw last year when Will Smith came out and spoke about his suicidal ideations and his suicidal thoughts, and I saw a very interesting social media post that came out of that. We as men are either becoming memes or memories, and there was a lot of joking and abuse that he received from being able to express himself and openly come out and talk about his mental health. So it's exactly that, the stigma that's associated with mental health and depression, in getting them to be able to talk about their issues and being able to acknowledge that it's okay to not be okay, for one, and that also being vulnerable is a sign of strength, and being able to express your vulnerability is a sign of strength and definitely not of weakness.
So if someone is watching now, perhaps they feel that they could have depression, perhaps someone is watching and they think that someone they love or know has depression, how does a man in today's society do this? Because you don't want to speak to other men, but you'll be seen as weak. You also don't necessarily want to speak to perhaps a female or a significant other in the relationship, because you'll be seen as being weak. It's a social issue, this isn't it, especially for men. How do we get over this?
So this is where, the work that we're doing with the Men's Foundation comes in, with these programs that are on the ground, where we're engaging men, and getting men to talk about these issues and getting them to feel safe in an environment where, there isn't going to be judgment. There isn't going to be scrutiny for being able to express your concerns and about how you're feeling, and exactly, that it is exactly okay to not be okay. There are the helplines that are in place and the suicide hotlines that's offered by various different organizations in the country. But the fact is, we need to get this outreach to men and start engaging with men about their emotional well-being and their mental well-being, and not only men, but engaging with boys and getting boys to understand that they need to start using other forms of emotion other than aggression, and all of these nasty things that we're seeing reported in the media that comes through in gender-based violence and these other issues that we're facing as a society today.
And just perhaps as a last question to you this morning, Garron, as well, we often, when we talk about GBV, quite rightly, when we talk about depression in women, we have this question as well. What is the woman's role in a relationship? I understand we also have LGBTQI+. I'm recognizing all of those lifestyles. How does the significant other in a relationship help identify that your man could be in trouble, and what do they do? Because there is an argument to be made as well that men don't want to be helped. Are we our own worst enemy?
We certainly are. You know, men's health-seeking behaviours, and particularly South African men's health-seeking behaviours, is a challenge. We've seen it with the lower uptake of the COVID-19 vaccine. You know, we as men don't want to acknowledge our mortality or address these issues that we know are certainly affecting our health. We need to be in an environment, and certainly with our peers and our partners, to be able to have that environment. You know, at the end of the day, we're all men are sons or brothers or fathers, and certainly when we're looking at, on average, 17 to 18 men taking their lives a day, we need to create this environment. We need to start changing the dial and enable our partners to enable us to show vulnerability as well. Yes, we know that society wants to view men as strong and stoic and all of these other attributes and these values, but we also need to start adding some other values in there that get men to start being comfortable with being able to express their vulnerability and being able to reach out and seek the help that they need, especially from a mental health and depression perspective.
It's terrifying stats that you've given us this morning, Garron Gsell. Thank you very much indeed. Men's Foundation of South Africa. By the way, I've been to the website. There is a cell phone number. I won't give that out necessarily. You can go to mensfoundation.co.za, but also you can email info@mensfoundation.co.za, Tumza. And I think this is one of the biggest issues, is there is this, perhaps if I had more time, I would have asked about the cultural side.
Absolutely.
As well, about how men are viewed, not just in society, but culturally.
Absolutely.
As well. The stereotype of breadwinner, provider. Not to say it's not true, and not to say that's not what men are going after as well, but it's taking away the ability to then show when you are vulnerable, when something's going wrong.
Absolutely.
As well, a friend of mine lost his job probably 2 years ago, and it took him 3 months to actually tell his wife, and in that time he was dealing with all of this by himself. We weren't even aware there was a problem until it started coming out in alcohol and other issues as well. So look out for those signs. That email address, info@mensfoundation.co.za. There is no shame.
I'm actually happy that you discussed also the impact it has around the loved ones, and not just directly on the person going through depression, the man going through anxiety, but also those around him. And even after the news of Riky Rick broke out, and we were also shocked, also impacted. I picked up a call, my phone, called my brothers, told them I love them, that I'm here for them. If they need to talk, I'm here. And I think it starts there, that you need to call your immediate people. And if we could all do that, and just to assure the men that we have you, and we're here for a conversation, we're here to support you, then perhaps they will open up.